So yeah, Tigers baseball happened this week, and well, there was some optimism brewing after the Tigers had a very solid end to their week last week when they entered with some solid momentum and leaving onto their road trip on a 4-game winning streak. So there was a lot of positivity to go from last week into this week. And well, despite the first game of the series against Cleveland being rained out and postponed into a doubleheader, the Tigers did really well against Cleveland. Kept that momentum going from last week to end last week going. Man, we have to mention Javier Baez. And the Tigers, they got 2 out of 3 games against Cleveland and still got the series against Cleveland. They lost the last game to Cleveland, but they were still able to get 2 out of 3. Still got a series win against the Guardians, so that's good, beating the division rival. So yeah, that's always good to see, especially Cleveland and sticking into those bastards in Cleveland. So that was pretty positive right there. And then when you feel like the optimism has been brewing pretty strong, the series against Baltimore's Monday 18-wheeler falls right off the goddamn cliff, because holy fuck. The Tigers were god-awful against Baltimore, just getting completely bitch-slapped and swept. Like, the only good things to come out of this series was that little tribute Baltimore did for Miggy, and then Javier Baez having a redemption moment and redeeming himself from his utter fucking embarrassing goof in Toronto. So yeah, that was very good to see from Javier. The fan jury's still out on Javier. He's still fucking overpaid. He's still one of the worst free agent signings in Detroit sports recent memory. So, still got a long way to go if he wants to redeem himself with the 3-1-3 faithful. But yeah. So yeah, and the Tigers they leave this week on a 4-game losing streak. Currently 7-13 and third in the AL Central. They're so far early in the season. They're now 5 games out of a wild card spot and 4 games out of division lead, which is currently being held by Minnesota. The Twins? And that won't last too long, especially if Cleveland starts getting their shit together. We'll check back here, but yeah. Just this season, when it looked like Tigers had some optimism going, well, we've seen what happens when the Tigers get any hope and optimism. Didn't even last an entire week. But yeah, after a week of getting the fan base hyped up, maybe thinking, maybe the Tigers have finally turned that stone and they're finally getting their shit together. The series against Baltimore, nope, dick punched right back to reality. Yep. Right back to reality again. And the hits will keep on coming this week because they wrap up their road trip with a 3-game set against Milwaukee before coming back home for our 4-game series against Baltimore. Oh, God. So we gotta get ass blasted by Baltimore 4 times now. Wonderful. Can Comerica give the fans fucking lube for that series against Baltimore? Cause, dear God, it's gonna get ugly. But yeah, it's just, man, this is not looking good for the Tigers. Like, already 20 games in, and there's a really strong chance to where a lot of the fan base in Detroit is gonna check out after 50 games with the Tigers. Because there's one thing I noticed here with Detroit sports. Because in Detroit sports, if you aren't winning or doing well, no one tends to give a flying fuck about you. And that's happening with the Tigers. They haven't been winning, and yeah, you've seen their attendance the last couple games. Nobody's tend to give a fuck about them. Kind of frustrating to watch. But yeah, just very brutal. Especially considering a couple of the Tigers games against Cleveland, and the attendance looked pretty bad. Like, if the fans haven't checked out, or if the fans aren't checking out after 50 games, it seems like it's already starting early. I mean, hey, that's just the pains of how much Alavilla's run the team in the ground. And especially Chris Ilitch to blame as well for trying to take a hands-on approach instead of trusting the baseball guys to do their fucking jobs. Maybe Chris Ilitch someday will get his shit together, but I highly doubt that. But yeah, less said about this week for the Tigers, the better. Scott Harris definitely has his work cut out for him. And AJ Hinch really needs to get something going if he wants to salvage anything with this season. You know, it's gonna be a rough ride this year. And we gotta deal with this we gotta deal with the baseball for a few more months. Like, the only distractions we really have until September is the NFL draft this week, coming up this weekend, along with the NHL draft lottery, and the NBA draft lottery coming up, along with the NHL and NBA drafts in June. And other than that, you know, there's also the playoffs too, but with no Detroit team in it, is it really worth that much to watch other teams get in there? Knowing that maybe Detroit could have done something if they were in there, probably not. But yeah, it's gonna be a brutal fucking season. Like, well, that optimism for 1 week was good while it lasted, but now, back to earth. That sucks. But yeah, just gonna be one of those painful years. Just gonna be a painful season. Like, come on, folks. Y'all know damn well what the fuck we were getting into this season. The moment we fired Villa last year. Like, it's rebuilding on top of a rebuild. Because Villa dug this team in so deep a hole, it's gonna take at least 5, maybe 10 years to fucking dig out of the hole. Like, easily, without a shadow of a doubt, the Tigers are the worst team in Detroit right now. They're shittier than the goddamn Pistons. At least the Pistons have a fucking future while they're still searching for their next head coach. And the Wings, they're on the right track too. They just need a little consistency. And the Lions are also probably the best team in Detroit. And the Lions are still on the right track too, despite Jameson Williams getting suspended 6 games for betting on college games on Lions property. Which, that suspension's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb that he wasn't even betting on NFL games and he got suspended just because he happened to be on Lions property. But if J-Mo went on the other side of the fucking street, or went to a fucking local Timmy's or a fucking Starbucks, or even went to a fucking strip club in Detroit, it would have been A-okay. Yeah, the NFL still has it out for Detroit. Because the NFL wants to get back at Detroit for Detroit fucking up the NFL's agenda in Week 18 against Green Bay by knocking the Packers out of the playoffs contention. Yeah, but hey, here's the one positive for everyone, though, for Detroit fans this week. At least Aaron Rodgers is gone since the trade between him and the Jets. Between the Packers and the Jets, the Rodgers trade is now official. Thank fucking God that drama is over. See ya, bitch. Have fun in New York and AFC East. He's your goddamn problem now. Have fun with his antics. But yeah, and I'll probably talk more about that later on as we progress on. But yeah, at least we got the NFL draft this weekend to distract us here, because yeah, Tigers baseball, man, it's gonna be ugly this year. Buckle up. But yeah, at least the Michigan Panthers looked promising last weekend. At least there's some positivity there.